because when I first had my Tesla, I utilized it in prom season, paid for my Tesla like the first 4 years I had it. A lot of people don't know that, like, because I'm smart with what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? So prom season would pay for my Tesla for the year. So my first 4 years, I didn't actually have to spend my money. It was the prom season money that paid for my Tesla. So
this is iLLANOiZE Radio with Biko, iLLANOiZE Jones, and Pretty Riot, going down right now.
You're tuned in to iLLANOiZE Radio, Chicago's most valuable radio show. I'm your host, Biko, alongside Pretty Riot, iLLANOiZE Jones. And as always, we bring you all the illest guests from around the city and globe. And today, we got the homie K-Moon in the building.
What's up? Thank you guys for the invite. I'm excited.
Welcome to iLLANOiZE.
It's a beautiful day outside, and you made your way here. Because you could have been at a barbecue right now.
I definitely could have been at a barbecue. Well, barbecuing myself.
Yeah, could have invited us over as well.
Yeah.
The Westside finest right here.
Yes. Westside till I die.
Where you from on the West Side?
I'm off Chicago Avenue and Kedzie. You know what I'm saying? So it's two sides to the West Side.
Mm-hmm.
You got the West Side, then you got out West.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the West Side.
Well, break
Hold on, break it down. What's the difference?
I mean, we're all still one big family, but like, when somebody say like I'm from out west, that means they just a little farther down on the west side. I'm from like the beginning of the west side, because the west side is very small. It's probably basically from Western to Austin Avenue, from North Avenue to Roosevelt. That's the west side. So if I'm off Chicago Avenue and Kedzie, I'm from the beginning. Now if you go past, let's say, maybe Cicero or Laramie, you from out west.
Yeah. That's like west, not western. I ain't gonna say suburb.
No, ain't no western suburb. It's still out.
Yeah,
it's still the west side.
It's close.
It's just out west. Like you farther out west. That's all.
You know how like you ride down Chicago Avenue, and the next thing you know, you in Oak Park. Like,
yeah.
Like, yo, what the heck?
That's Oak Park, though. That's Oak Park. That ain't out west.
That's
that
my
ain't out
point.
west.
Exactly.
No, you start seeing trees. Nah.
And big old houses.
You start seeing trees. Yeah.
Good trees.
The healthy ones.
The West Side don't got no grass.
Not too much now. Not too much.
Look, hold you down.
I'm from the West Side. That's why I was off of Chicago Avenue and Lawler for a while. So.
Okay, yeah. So you from out west?
Yeah,
you from out west.
No,
from out
that's
west.
one part. I was over in Costner and Kenneth and K-Town.
Okay,
moved from
yeah,
there to
you from
Holy
the West
City,
Side.
so I'm from the West
Oh,
Side.
Holy City, yeah.
Okay. Don't get it twisted.
He take pride in being from the West
So
Side.
you in Holy City, you know about vice laws and everything.
Of course.
Okay, see? Oh yeah, we may be cousins.
Yeah,
You
I know about all. Yeah, I know about the folk on the hustle. I stayed
Okay.
over there on when you was mentioning folk.
Jones.
Had me rolling.
Hey, the pastor last night was wild.
Yeah, I heard the conversation, my brother. But you know, K-Moon, with you being out west, you know how has that brightened your entrepreneurship skills?
Oh man, it definitely molded me. Well, Chicago itself molds anybody as far as like kind of like being self-sufficient and have that entrepreneur mode. But yeah, for me coming out west and starting to become an entrepreneur, it was kind of like a easy transition because, you know, growing up, I'm sure somebody probably had somebody in their family who was a street pharmacist or something like that. So you kind of see like what it takes to be a entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? You see they do a pass out, that's marketing. You know what I'm saying? Let the people know how do you like this.
Yeah,
if you like
good.
it, come back.
Branding.
You know what I'm saying? Then based off the, you know, the reactions, hey, I may up this from $5 to $10 because everybody want it.
Flexing,
You know what I'm
pushing
saying?
the plate.
So you know how to
Inflation.
price. Yeah, you know how to price and stuff, and then you know if your competition, you may want to do name it something different and make people think it's something different, but it's the same thing that homie on the other block got. So you know that's kind of how I can say I like learned to be an entrepreneur. You know, and then just always I didn't really want to work for nobody. I'm gonna be honest, like that was one of my main things. I'm not good with people telling me what to do.
Okay, what time?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's just like okay, if I have the chance to make my own money and do it how I want to do it without somebody micromanaging me and this is that, let me try this. Let me try it.
That's dope,
Because the only thing can happen is you may have to go back and get a job. Okay, that's easy. But I ain't never want to like regret and say, oh man, that one business I wanted to start, I never did it because I was scared. So nah. So yeah.
Now I also noticed, since we still on the topic of Westside, you went to Westinghouse.
Yes,
and
as I should.
That's a school my sister went to.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Your sister's smart.
Smart as hell. You gonna show you right on the real. But Westinghouse is now like a college prep.
Yep. It's a selective enrollment high school now.
And I see that you also had a scholarship.
Yep, I had
basketball.
a full scholarship to go to Cleveland State University, so took advantage of that. I am a successful college dropout. Some things happened in my family. My grandma passed away, and I was kind of like out of it for a minute. Then go back to Cleveland State. Went to Malcolm X for a minute. Started working. Started making good money. And just kept doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I just realized, like, sometimes it's not about almost everything that you know, is who you know. Mm-hmm. And my profession that I was seeking to do, it wasn't like a career, like it wasn't in medical or engineering or something like that. So I was just like, I probably don't really need a degree. And so I took advantage of that and then just made sure I didn't have to utilize the degree to be successful.
What did you major in when you went to Cleveland?
So I majored in, first I majored in communication.
Okay.
But, being a student athlete, it was a lot of work. And I was like, I'm a major in business. You know what I'm saying? And so majoring in business, you start realizing, like, I can probably just watch some on YouTube or Google some stuff and read some books to run a business. And so that's basically kind of, I was just like, yeah.
You was a sports athlete, huh?
Yeah.
What sport?
Basketball.
Well, for sure.
Yeah, I played basketball and softball.
So what position did you play in basketball?
I played 2, 3, and 4.
2, 3. Damn.
Are you the baby LeBron?
Yeah.
The Bulls could definitely use you right now.
Shout out to the Bulls.
Now, before we get into this break, you stated that someone passed in your family, which, if I'm not mistaken,
My grandmother.
which led you to like fall back.
Yeah, well, I was just like, my grandmother and I was very close, and when she passed, I just wasn't motivated for like school, and like the team I was on, we was having issues, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna just stay home. You know how I started out? I'm gonna stay home for a semester. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So stay home for a semester, started working. My first real job, I was working at Circuit City. So it was straight commission. I didn't know what that meant. But the manager was like, you can make your own check.
What does
So
that
I was
mean?
like, what you mean I can make?
Like
He's
commission.
like, based off you, like whatever you sell, you get a certain percentage off these sales and you can create your own check. There's no base salary. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay then. And so I was working in the computer department, didn't know nothing about computers, but I'm a people's person, so I can talk to people, and then as you're working, you learning stuff about different computers, asking other people who worked in the department, and they giving you tips and hints, and you really didn't need to be an expert. You just needed to be a people's person and convince people like, no, you need this too. You need 4 cartridges of ink.
Do you find that because I worked in sales out of college. Mm-hmm. So did you find, I thought it was invasive, and maybe because I did cold calling, but I felt like I was harassing people or did you feel like that at some point?
So in your situation, you're different. Yeah. You're recalling people. People was coming to us, so we had a need for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't going door to door. Hey, you want to buy a computer? They was coming to us because they had a need. So I need to satisfy that need.
Did you feel pushy? Did you feel like you had to be pushy? I guess is a better question.
I will say you do kind of get in that mode because it's like you're going to the computer oh man, I'm at 3,000 right now. Man, let me try to get 5,000. So now you're getting super aggressive. You are like, no, you need this printer cable because it's gold plated it's still gonna do the same thing as the one that comes with the brand. But you're getting people enticed because in sales, it's all about emotions. You get somebody excited, like, yeah, you got this, you got that, you got. Now they excited. Now they want to tell everybody.
Perfect job for a hustler.
Yeah,
it is. And that's the spirit she got. Before we get in this break, if your grandmother was still here, do you see you being on this path you're on now?
Man, that's a tough one. I really don't know. Yeah, that's a tough question. I will hope so. I'm very successful right now, so I will hope so. Yeah.
The iLLANOiZE app is available now on Apple and Google Play Store. Download the app, get the latest news, stream our podcasts, watch interviews, and listen to iLLANOiZE Radio live. Download the app right now.
Before the break, we kind of talked about like your first job. So I kind of want to know, like, when did you transition into like actually being an entrepreneur? Did you go through more jobs and then you was like, I'm sick of this, or was that? Tell me about that.
What it is. I had a couple of jobs. I went into the insurance agents industry, so I used to sell life insurance. Went into banking, and then my last W-2, I was a mail carrier.
Like for USPS?
Yep, out in Laos. Yep, I was a mail carrier for Route 1. Yep. Shout out to Laos.
You remember your route?
Say Route 1.
They tell somebody said, and then you worked at a bank too. What's the procedure when you got a gun to your head?
So that was my last W-2 that I was working. You know what? I'm sorry. So I also worked for an organization called You Can. I started working there in 2008. So I still work at You Can as a registry employee. So I just let them know when I'm available and I can work. But like full time, the post office was my last W-2. That was 6 years ago. So the reason why I transitioned to that is because when I was 25, I wrote a note to myself and I said, I want to be retired by 35. I wanted to be married, have 2 kids, debt free, living a good life. So in the midst of that, I was always saying, like, I don't want to work with nobody. I don't want to work for nobody. I want to have good credit. So I think I was kind of like putting that energy out consistently, subconsciously. Now the husband and the kids, I was just like, I want to be out here a little bit. Then, you got friends with kids. It's like, this birth control. I don't know if I really want to have no kids. So those 2 things I wasn't kind of like manifesting, but like maintaining, having good credit, and not wanting to work for somebody was always in the back of my head, like all the time. So I turned 35 in March.
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, I had turned 35 in March. Yep. Months roll around. It was June. My supervisor had pissed me off, and I had already made a decision like I'm gonna just leave at the end of the year. But my supervisor made me mad, and I went back to my case, and I was just like, some just told me like, you don't supposed to be here anyway. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, what? Like what? So I'm casing, I'm on my route, and I'm still like pissed the whole day doing my route. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, so I'm driving home, and some just told me, hey, get him a 1 month notice. So I went home, I ain't do a 2 week notice, I did a 1 month notice, came back, gave it to the postmaster. He was like, oh, what's going on? This is that. I was like, oh, I just want to transition and do something different. And so he went to my supervisor. So my supervisor pulled me in the office. He was like, is it because of the discussion from yesterday? And I told him, I said, well, that's partly the reason. I said, but I had already had something planned. And I was like, it was just like a little voice that just told me, like, just pursue that plan. And so I did that. I left July 11th. And a week later, I had bought a property, and then I started going heavy into my promoting with my parties and events. So I was doing parties and music shows before that, but like part-time. But then I was like, now I got to go full-fledged. because now this is going to be my income on top of like the money that I was making from my tenants, and then I had a lot of money saved up because I always had roommates.
Smart.
Yeah.
What even led you into that specific industry? I know you said this before, you was already doing this before, but like when did you actually get into the music?
So low key, me started doing local music shows, and he probably don't even know this. It's this guy I grew up with named Calvin Robinson. We was talking about like artists and stuff like that, and I used to kind of complain about like going to open mics and everybody kind of being like trash, except the person who I'm going to see. And so he was like, man, we should do our own little showcase. I'm like, nah, bro, I don't want to do nothing like that. He like, come on, I got some artists, I know some people. And I was like, okay, forget it, we'll do it. He was like, I'll help you, I got some artists. So we ended up doing it. My first event, it was called Soulful Sunday, and it went great. Like, and everybody was like, are y'all gonna do this every Sunday? I was like, no way. And then it took the owner of the venue, it was at the Dark Room. He hit me up and was like, hey, would you guys like to do this every Sunday? I was like, no, sir. Like, no. And then he was like, well, if you become a resident, and a residency here, and I was like, what is that? Because I didn't know what that was. He was like, that means you could have it, do something here every month, and I wouldn't charge you guys a high fee. So I'm like, forget it, I'll try it out. And so I knew a lot of rappers and stuff like that, and then I started just booking artists and stuff like that. And for a long time, nobody knew that it was a female behind the company I was running, because I had a company called Good Deeds Crew. And then I was going by K Moon. So people would reach out to Good Deeds Crew like, yeah, bro, what up? I want to get on y'all's show. And I'll be like, it's a female running this, so I didn't want people to know that it was female running, because back then it wasn't a lot of female promoters out there. And then sometimes you get people want to be disrespectful or think like, oh, you don't know what you're doing type thing. So for a long time, nobody knew it was a female running Good Deeds Crew.
Did you ever fear that like you would get like blackballed by men if they were to know out the gate that you were a woman?
So at first I did, but I'm be honest, like people gravitate to me, and I just have like a good aura and good spirit. So I never had like bad vibes with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when people did find out, they was like more like happy and excited and more willing to actually help me more, like want to get more artists for me or help do extra promotion. And I wasn't like charging people to perform at the open mics. Back then, people used to charge people just to perform, and I'm like, why would I charge you when, you know what I'm saying? So, and then I had it even made it where you could sell tickets, and I would do a 60-40 split with you, 60 their way. You know what I'm saying? And then after, if you sold so many, I would do a 70-30 split, 70 their way. So people was like what? Come on. So I never kind of had felt that or dealt with that, but I did fear that would happen. So that's why I was kind of like, I didn't want people to know who I was. But then as word got out, it
ended up working in your favor.
It was working out.
Who was some of the artists you had perform at your event?
Oh man. So kind of started out with this one artist, AM. I had AM, D2G. I had Vix.
AM early morning? Or just
Abstract Mind. Abstract Mind, D2G, Vic Spencer. I actually had Chance the Rapper perform at a show. Add 2, John Content. These boys named Hollywood Shorties. I never forget them, because when I told them about that tickets, like I swear them boys sold like 100 tickets in one day. Hollywood Shorties. Oh my God, I had so many people. D Games. Me and D did a event together. 4. I had 4 perform at a show. It's so P1.
Back when P1 was a rapper, not a DJ.
Back when P1 was a rapper. These guys that grew up with me, the Cheddar Boys, they used to come deep. The Cheddar Boys. So many like local rappers, man. I can't even name them all. I'm sorry if I forget.
Dope.
No. Singers. I had Beneficial. I had the boy iLLANOiZE. Taylor Mallory. Soul J. Isaiah Jones, because I used to do the R&B too. Like, golly. Oh, Chris Crack.
Damn, girl.
Yeah.
Extensive
Chris Crack.
list.
It's so many. Like, if I go back to
I'm saying I knew who you. I just wanted you to name them because these are people that's still moving and still going and making noise and making a lot of noise and doing their thing.
Tree. Tree. Man, so many. I could go back and name them all. But to get back to it, so I left and then I started. At that point, I was doing parties. I had stopped doing local shows and I had crossed over to doing parties. And so I went full-fledged into doing parties.
Now, before we get into the parties, I want to talk about the events with the artists. You know, it's always a debate on who promotes the event. Should it be the artist or should it be the promoter? So, in your standpoint, what works best in general?
Both. It has to be both. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to be successful if we don't work together. Because if it's only me promoting, that means my audience is only going to come to people who they feel they want to come see. Mm-hmm. So if they see some fresh artists that they never heard of, not from their side of town, because, people do stuff like that. Oh, man, they from out south. I ain't going to see them. You know what I'm saying? So then they're going to be biased and be like, I ain't going to go to this one. But whenever you have Tree perform, I'm there. But I may not have Tree performing for 3 months from now. So it has to be a partnership. And then as an artist, you want to promote to your people because it's a local show. So, back in the day, people will only come see their people perform and then what? Leave. Mm-hmm. So you want to have your people coming out supporting you just in case you do have an artist that bring 30 people and once he or she is done, if they people leave. So, yeah. But I used to set my shows up where nobody knew when they was performing until like the day before. Because then you can't tell your people like, man, don't come until, this, that. Yep. And then just the relationship that I kind of build and the rapport that I build with the artist, you kind of wanted to stay and enjoy the show because I would incorporate a live band with these artists. So that was something different too. Instead of just having drill all day and, you got a live band going and you mix it up. So I also would do hip hop and R&B shows. So that was a different feel too. So people get they got a variety instead of just like, man, it was just all rap all day, So people will want to stay and enjoy it. And my host was a great host, John Content. Shout out to him. Like, he was a great host that kept people engaged, that wanted to stay and hear what was he going to say next. And, just how he brought the artist out. And he was an artist himself. So I just was kind of blessed to have the people in my circle that was working with me and it worked out. But it should be a collaborative effort.
Make sure to check out the iLLANOiZE playlist in which we provide you with the latest tracks we play live on our show. Head over to Spotify and search iLLANOiZE Radio to follow our playlist as well as follow our podcast. Now let's get back to the show.
What's going on?
Welcome to iLLANOiZE Radio.
Illinois Jones, what y'all on?
You gave me my first opportunity to host an event.
I definitely did.
It was dope.
Yes, it was.
It was lit.
You was hosting with John Content.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. I was nervous as shit.
He held you down, though.
Nah, listen, I was just there. I was just there. I didn't know what I let.
We was at the Wise Food Pub. I remember that.
I ain't been there. I ain't been to that pub since. You couldn't even ask me what it looked like. Like, it was cool though. It was dope. And I met you. The first time I met you was at the Tree event.
Yep, Tree listening party. Yeah, for Sunday.
And I used to make beats. You
definitely did.
I used to give you a lot of beats for your artists.
Yep, Solomon.
Yeah. See, look, we got history, man. This is my dog.
Yeah.
And then you told me one day I don't do artist events no more.
Nope.
What made you stop?
Money. So at the time I was doing local shows at Refuge. Shout out to Chris. He is the new owner of Tribe on Lake Street. Y'all go check it out. So I was still doing local shows and I was doing them at Refuge mainly. And my business partner now, Matt Brooks, he was working at this spot called Fleetwood. and he just taken over, so he was a manager. So it wasn't a lot of traffic at this venue, but it was a very nice venue. So he had hit me up, was like, hey, I just got this new position, but it's not a lot of traffic. We need to get people in here. This place is really nice. He was like, you think you can do a music show here? So I'm like, all right, I'm a coach. Come check it out. I walked in. I'm like, man, this place is really nice, but bro, this is not equipped to do a music show. So he like, do something. He's like, man, you know a lot of people. Maybe you could do a party or something in here. So I'm like, okay, but then he was like, but you can't charge at the door. I'm like, yeah, right. So I'm gonna make my money. So he's like, you can get a percentage of the bar. So I'm like, okay, cool. So it just so happened that at the time when he asked me, I had some people whose birthday was coming up. I had like my cousin's birthday was coming up, 3 of my friends, and some more people. And then I just started going on Facebook, like seeing who birthdays was coming up. So I did a party. I did a masquerade party at the end of October, and it was like, it was packed.
Busting.
It was packed. It was busting, like you said. The bar made a lot of money. And then he was like, here go your percentage from the bar. And I was like, hold on. This all I had to do was book some birthdays. And I ain't had to follow up with no artists. I ain't had to make sure you had your show CD. I ain't had to follow up with the sound man. I ain't had oh, bro, I'm done with these. I'm done with these music shows. I'm done with these music shows. So yeah, like I just slowly just transitioned and just stopped doing the music shows, and then I just went full-fledged, like doing the parties. And at the time I was still a mail carrier, and then me and Matt created a company called Thank You Chicago. That's how Thank You Chicago came about. Yep, he ended up getting a job, manager position at Promontory, which is, he's still there now, and him and I was talking about doing some parties together. And I wasn't a big person to like have to have my name all over a flyer. So I would hate when you see like Illinois Jones, K Moon, Bree, you know, like 1,000 name on the flyer, because everybody want to have their name on the flyer saying this day party. So I'm like, bro, I don't want to keep having like K Moon dot daily, because that's his like party promotion name. So I'm like, let's come up with a company name. And so that's how Thank You Chicago came about.
That's dope.
Thank You Chicago was created, and then we started doing parties. We end up also partnering with another guy that he went to school with named Doug, and then we all three were doing Thank You Chicago. And so our main residency is at Promontory. So, and the money was just good.
It still is.
It still is. Yeah. Still is. And me doing that, I just been meeting a lot of people. I always meet a lot of people, but I just been blessed to partner with other folks and do events with them too. And just, it's been really lucrative for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Can you actually elaborate more on that? How you just said you partnered, you know, with other people, with other companies to put together events.
Yes.
It'd be more competition rather than collaboration. So
it definitely do. So with me, you can ask anybody who partnered with me or that I asked to partner with me. I'm probably the most easiest person to partner with. I'm super fair. I do everything evenly. That's just how I do it. I don't care if I got the venue and I got the DJ and this is that. If I got all that, it don't matter. I'm still, if I'm doing it with somebody else, we're still going to do it 50-50. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes certain things that you do, another person can't do, but they can contribute something else that you can't do. You know what I'm saying? So I just do everything evenly, so you won't have that competition. You won't have people saying like, man, I did that party with them. They only gave me 20%, but I had majority of the people there. But they don't know, they didn't know half of the logistics. They didn't get the venue, they didn't get the DJ, they didn't do that, because that's a lot of work too. So if we just all get the same amount of money, nobody should be tripping. Because you know what I'm saying, and it makes everybody work equally and hard, because it's like we get money together. I have never work with somebody where somebody complain. I have never heard somebody say some bad things about me or it got back to me. Like, I typically have people who love working with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm good people.
You is good people.
I'm good people.
And not only are you a dope entrepreneur, you got a giving heart, because before the pandemic, you was doing a lot of stuff for the communities on the west side, where you would set up like at random spot in the worst neighborhoods.
Don't say that. We was just helping the less fortunate.
No, I'm
the
not
homeless.
I'm not saying it was bad. According to what the people that's not from Chicago, when they see these hoods, they be like,
you specifically talking about the neighborhoods.
The neighborhoods. When they got the police lights on the poles, you pulling up to them neighborhoods, having a barbecue. You got the blow up for the kids to play. You go to every hood and you do it, and you does this, and you was doing it like every week. You was popping up.
I was doing food drive, so that was Good Deeds Crew. So Good Deeds Crew was basically meaning like do good deeds together. Birds of a feather do good deeds together. So the symbol had like a bird with feathers coming off. So that's kind of what it meant. So Good Deeds was about like giving back. That name came about because of John Content, because John Content was like, man, you need to start charging people for how much you help them. I'm like, bro, I don't want to charge nobody. I just, this information they can get. I just want to do good deeds. And when we get out the phone, that shit just popped in my head like Good Deeds Crew. And that's how that name came about. So Good Deeds Crew, we do a lot for the community, mainly like food drives and stuff like that and giveaways.
I mean, well, how can, people get in tune with Good Deeds Crew as far as like donating and helping out?
So I ain't gonna lie, I haven't did events since the pandemic. Cause when the pandemic happened, I was partnering with a couple of organizations and we giving out masks and stuff like that, but I haven't did nothing recently. But I do plan to do some stuff in the near future where it'll be Good Deeds Crew, Thank You Chicago, and then I have another brand called Hey Wendy. I partnered with my a good friend of mine named Bailey Ellis. Okay. So he's the designer. Like, he's an amazing creator and designer, and it's a apparel and novelty brand. You can catch that stuff at heywendy.com. It's an amazing brand. It's going to blow up. We're going to do very well with it as long as we stay consistent and do what we're supposed to do. And I'll send you guys some stuff from Hey Wendy. I'll send it up here. So we're going to all collaborate and do some more stuff for the community, because it's like we get blessed with stuff and then we kind of forget about the unfortunate, the less fortunate people. So, So I
want to know, because you've worked with people.
Yeah, I have worked with a lot of people, yeah.
Because you've worked with so many different people, what have you learned just about people in general in all your years of experience? So
I'm going to be honest. One thing I have learned to always just be myself. I ain't no code switching with me. I don't care if you a millionaire, white collar, blue collar, broke, whatever. I'm going to always be the same K-Moon. So that's what I learned, to always just be yourself, because when you don't, somebody see you in a different element, they be like, man, that ain't, man, she really like that. You know what I'm saying? So I have always learned to just be myself, but also I am very straightforward. There is no gray area with me. I am black and white. I am very honest. Sometimes people say I'm too honest, but I don't know what that means, because it's just the truth. So I will say what I, mean, and that's it. So I'm very straightforward and I'll always be myself, but I'm not no asshole. I don't try to get over on people. Like, at the end of the day, I'm trying to help somebody before anything. And typically when I partner with people or help somebody, it's simply like, if I help them, it's going to help somebody else. So, and I always tell my friends, like, you never know who you're going to meet, because they may help you in the future. And I have been blessed so many times with blessings like that, like meeting somebody and they introduce me to somebody else, and that person then helped me out with something. So, I do believe in karma, so that's why I kind of like treat everybody how I want to be treated, and I don't do no code switching. I'm just gonna be always me, always keep it a buck, always be honest. Ain't no gray area. You ain't gotta assume what I'm trying to say or nothing. Yeah, that's kind of.
before we actually end things and you get your shout outs, you've been in business for a very long time.
Yeah.
The pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Like, how did you continue to stay in business?
So I'm gonna be honest, man, like I was so blessed that I had like saved up a lot of money. And then I always had roommates. I'm telling you, like, shout out to roommates, because that helps so much, because you're not paying the bulk of stuff. I don't have no kids, you know what I'm saying? So that helps too, because I ain't had no extra mouths to feed. So just saving up money, being responsible. I didn't have a lot of debt. Like, when the pandemic hit is when I actually had to first, like, start paying for my Tesla. Because when I first had my Tesla, I utilized it in prom season, paid for my Tesla like the first 4 years I had it. A lot of people don't know that, like, because I'm smart with what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? So prom season would pay for my Tesla for the year. So my first 4 years, I didn't actually have to spend my money. It was the prom season money that paid for my Tesla. So I still, in my mind, was saying, like, you still got to pay for your Tesla, because you never know what may happen. And lo and behold, COVID.
Yeah, pandemic.
Prom season was done with.
Virtual.
Yeah, so actually these last 2 years is when I actually had to pay for my Tesla myself, but I had money saved up, and then I had a property. Thank God my tenants was still paying their rent. You know what I'm saying? So I make a profit off my tenants, so I never had to get like assistance from the mortgage company and nothing like that. I still was able to do that. So the profit that I made from my tenants paid my rent where I stay. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of money that's being exchanged isn't actual money that I'm spending that I earned. It's money that I profit off of, that's paying for a lot of things.
Passage income.
Your financial literacy is A1.
Yes.
So, like, and before, because I know he just said we're going to wrap up, have you ever thought about, like, teaching, and I don't know, like, but teaching this, like, even within, like, your good deeds, like, have you ever thought about adding financial literacy into that? Because people in the hood need that too, truthfully.
So, not me per se, like, teach it, but I have did a financial literacy workshop with people who, like, this is their passion, this is what they do, where I incorporated, like, people who does with finances, that people that deal with credit, people that deal with, like, loan officers and stuff like that, because that's their niche. That's what they do. With me, I just always kind of try to see stuff and like, okay, I can make some money off that. So how can I make some money? Like, you can teach that, but sometimes it can come off wrong with people. So people that it's their niche, that they do, and they can give you step by step how to do it from the groundbreaking. With me, a lot of stuff I was winging it, and I just was
winging it the right way.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Learn as you go.
Yeah.
Right. As you basically going back to what you said, you see that local street dude, you see like, man, this man making all this money. But so that's kind of, I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of how a lot of us learn how to make money.
Yeah.
Watching somebody
make money.
You know, unfortunately, I mean, they're businessmen at the end of the day.
They can run a Fortune 500 company if they wanted to.
They definitely can. Like, if a lot of them go and start doing stuff legally, like
check out
they
Ghost.
will be billionaires.
Snowfall.
Yeah.
You feel?
We need some Franklins out here. But don't let
James St. Patrick.
Don't let Teddy get that 73 mil. I was hurt.
I was too. Look,
he's like, you white motherfucker.
He say, "Mama, we about to burn this motherfucker down." But with the pandemic slowing down, not necessarily being over, venues is back open.
Thank you.
Let people know some upcoming events that's about to take place, as well as how they can get in tune with Thank You
So for
Chicago.
any of the party, if you want to come to a party, have a good time, definitely check out TYC Chicago on Instagram. That stands for Thank You Chicago. On Facebook, you can look up Thank You Chicago. We predominantly do our parties at Promontory, to the capacity of what it can hold. We do a lot of stuff outside of that too. We do bar crawls. We're going to be doing bigger events. We're going to be doing travel group trips and stuff like that, because I'm gonna be honest, I do want to take Thank You Chicago to another level. That name is a very huge and broad name, and I don't want it to be boxed in as only like the only company that just only do parties. So we're going to be tapping into doing festivals and things on a much larger and bigger scale that will be accommodating for any demographic, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so again, on IG, TY Chicago. On Facebook, you can find us at Thank You Chicago. Also, you can find Hey Wendy at hey.wendy on IG, or Hey Wendy on Facebook.
You gonna give out your personal or not?
What, you know what, I'll get out my personal. My personal IG is KMoon 319. And then on Facebook is my government name, Nakesha Moon. That's NAKESHIA. Last name Moon. My last name is Moon.
Now, look at we appreciate you sliding, sharing your story.
I appreciate you guys having me.